People in the Fever were like, y'all.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit going on around there.
It's a lot. Yeah. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't
want to be here.
This is where I want to be.
Yeah.
Everyone said the Indiana Fever were cursed, that no one wanted to play there, that veterans stayed away, that even their most loyal star, Kelsey Mitchell, was silently plotting her exit. The franchise was called everything from irrelevant to doomed, and Cheryl Swoops, the WNBA legend, put it all out in the open. She confidently declared that key players didn't want to be there, that the team lacked direction, and that Caitlyn Clark wouldn't survive the transition to pro basketball. It sounded bold. It sounded damning. But it was also completely wrong.
And for us, with the new atmosphere, new coaching, everything is just absolutely new. It feels really good. It feels fresh. It's kind of like when you take your clothes out the dryer, kind of like fresh. It feels different, and it feels good because we have new leadership, we got new players, we got vet leadership, and so I think all that combined just makes for a good atmosphere right now. It feels good.
Because what happened next flipped the entire narrative on its head. One by one, the players themselves began speaking out. Not in angry tweets or passive-aggressive comments, but with sincerity, optimism, and raw truth. Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlyn Clark, and even Coach Stephanie White all offered glimpses into a team dynamic that was nothing like the one Swoops described. And once you hear what they had to say, you'll realize something powerful is happening in Indiana, something no one expected.
I remember this time last year, it didn't feel good. So we had to get that in order for people to start playing well. It's like the domino effect. But I think once your culture is kind of established, how you guys see it now, I think it makes everything else way easier. I don't know if that makes sense.
It began with a single podcast appearance. Cheryl Swoops, a WNBA icon with 3 MVPs and 4 championships, took to the mic on Queens of the Court and dropped what she thought was a truth bomb. Players, she claimed, didn't want to play for the Indiana Fever. She said veterans avoided the franchise, that leadership was weak, and most notably, she named Kelsey Mitchell as someone who felt unappreciated. In a league where rumors spread like wildfire, that soundbite lit up social media. Swoops wasn't just criticizing a team. She was painting a picture of internal chaos.
Personally, here's where I think they didn't do a very good job, and that was with Kelsey Mitchell, who's an unrestricted free agent, because Kelsey Mitchell had a hell of a season this season, and I don't think she got the credit that she deserved.
Her comments were sharp, personal, and incredibly public. And for a few days, they went largely unchallenged. Fans debated whether Mitchell would demand a trade, if Caitlyn Clark had made a mistake signing with Indiana, and whether the Fever were stuck in a downward spiral. Swoops had thrown down the gauntlet, and for a moment it looked like the team had no intention of picking it up. But then, out of nowhere, Kelsey Mitchell sat down for her first interview of the season and turned everything upside down.
I think the best part right now is everyone wants to be here. You know, it's really downplayed. It sounds cliche, but it's nothing like being where you want it and everybody feels value in order to go have a good training camp, have a good preseason, so you can have a good first game when the season starts. But I think right now, it's just that good feeling of everybody feel like, hey, I want to be here and I want to compete. So I think that's the first step.
When Kelsey Mitchell finally spoke, she didn't need theatrics or a rebuttal. Her energy said everything. In her first interview since the start of training camp, she looked nothing like the frustrated, underappreciated athlete Cheryl Swoops had described. Her body language was relaxed, her smile genuine, and her tone lighthearted. "It feels fresh," she said, comparing the new atmosphere to the smell of clothes just pulled from the dryer. "It feels different, and it feels good." No PR spin, just a player speaking her truth, and it landed like a mic drop.
What's it been like adjusting to Stephanie White and I guess that culture you're talking about?
Oh man, I have nothing but great things to say about Stephanie. From the time I was in China playing and her trying to get me back here, and the leadership that she took to make sure I felt welcome and felt safe coming back and playing under her. She's done an unbelievable job with all of us one by one and making sure we all feel different but in a good way.
She praised the coaching staff, the vibe in the locker room, and most importantly, the leadership. Mitchell made it clear, this wasn't the same Indiana Fever. We've got new players, we've got veteran leadership. It just feels like a good atmosphere right now, she said. The words weren't forced. There was no sense of hesitation or coded language. She looked like someone who wanted to be there, who had chosen to be there, and who was excited about where things were going.
Culture. And I think once you establish the respect in the room, the environment is always is value with that. I think those days that are tough that you do have to give your grace for, it's respect behind it. We don't expect perfection right now, but we do expect discipline and we expect hard work. So if we could cultivate that and then give ourselves some grace when it's time to go win games, I think we will.
For years, Indiana had a reputation, not for wins, but for stagnation. That's what made Mitchell's remarks so striking. She wasn't just content, she was energized. Everyone wants to be here, she said, in a league where players have more freedom than ever to move. That's a statement worth noticing. She wasn't just pushing back on Swoops. She was replacing the narrative entirely. What used to feel like a dead end was suddenly being described as a launch pad.
Yeah, I think that your DBs, your Sophies, and even like Sid is like a wild card because they won and they know it on different levels. You got to think Sid Colson was maybe started on the bench but had to go get minutes, and she won a championship. And then it was the same with Natasha Howard. It's the same with DB. So we get a different leadership of vets that came. It's going to teach us how to win. So it's pretty fun.
The reason? Culture. Mitchell gave credit to the Fever's new coaching direction under Stephanie White and how it's shifted the energy from top to bottom. Respect, discipline, grace. Those were the values she emphasized. We don't expect perfection, but we expect hard work, she explained. These aren't buzzwords. They're the building blocks of a professional environment, one where accountability is balanced with humanity. And when that kind of culture takes root, players don't want to leave. They want to grow.
Well, I think that mix of leadership that we have from your DBs, your Tosh Howard, and Sid, it's going to help ease things out based on the people that's coming around to see us. But I also think that it do helps us. Let me say this. Before we got here a month ago, we were all coming in. We would come from our respective homes to establish that already. And so I think that 5, we've established that like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It might have been open run, it might have just working out, but we've already kickstarted how we want to play and here so we could do it here.
Mitchell didn't just talk about the culture shift. She pointed to proof. Players like Natasha Howard, Dana Bonner, and Sydney Colson didn't have to come to Indiana. These are veterans with options, championship rings, and respected names around the league. Yet they chose the Fever. And their presence didn't just upgrade the roster, it validated the direction of the franchise. These vets are teaching us how to win, Mitchell said, smiling as she named each one like an excited fan.
From the moment I met Caitlyn and the moment she met me, like I said, when you respect your teammates and respect as competitors, it makes for a better relationship. It makes for a better dynamic. And I think that me and C Square established that 2 years ago now. So I think everything with us is going to always be kosher and really put together because we've already established who we were as people and as players and how we can help make each other better. So it feels good to me already.
This directly crushed Swoops' claim that no seasoned players wanted any part of the Fever. And Mitchell made that clear without ever calling Swoops out by name. The message was louder than any call-out. If Indiana was such a mess, why were winners choosing it as their next destination? Their arrival speaks volumes. These aren't charity signings. They're culture carriers. Proof that something real is happening behind the scenes.
I think that strength, for one, is always, from a physical standpoint, her strength and her ability to now make plays that people don't think about. Whether it's that skip to skip. I mean, you know, a person of her caliber, it seems small, but it's going to make her go from having 25 to having 28 or 10 assists to 12 assists. So, for one, her strength, and then after that, professional, learning, you know, watching film, you know, knowing what you need. And I think that's going to take time for her specifically, but the rest is for her is already in the bag. I think strength is always going to be a main thing for her.
Of all the narratives pushed in the offseason, one of the most anticipated was the Mitchell versus Clark dynamic. Would Kelsey feel overshadowed by Caitlyn's media spotlight? Would there be tension, power struggles? But from the moment Mitchell discussed Clark, it was obvious. None of that existed. Instead, she praised Clark's vision, her strength, and her unselfish style. That skip pass? That's going to take her from 25 points to 28, plus 12 assists, Mitchell said with admiration. This wasn't envy, it was partnership.
Three WNBA MVPs in your career. Would you consider each of those 3 seasons as dominant seasons for yourself?
No.
Man, I can't. Bro, Cheryl Swoops. Cheryl Swoops is willing to lie about her own career before she even admits that Caitlyn is dominant.
She even reflected on their mutual respect that began 2 years ago. That's right, before Clark was ever a pro. Mitchell explained that their connection as competitors and teammates was already built on mutual understanding. It's always going to be culture with us, she said. And that phrase, with us, is key. This isn't a team divided by legacy or headlines. It's one learning how to win together.
Yeah, I mean, that was like my biggest focus in the offseason is just trying to get stronger and really working on that. And really thankful for Sarah, our strength and conditioning coach, like put in a lot of time with me. And we were in here consistently. Like, I think that was the biggest thing for myself is just having that consistency to be able to work on it for 6 months or whatever it was. So I certainly feel a lot stronger, and, you know, I'm a pretty self-aware person. I knew that was going to be a huge part of it. And, you know, it's going to help me offensively. It's going to help me defensively. It's going to help me not get as tired throughout games. So yeah, definitely one of the focus points of my off season is just getting stronger. And, you know, even through these 2 practices, like I can certainly feel it.
While Swoops predicted Clark would struggle under the weight of pro basketball, Caitlyn herself was focused on something entirely different: work. She didn't talk about proving doubters wrong or dominating headlines. Instead, she zeroed in on strength training and film study, things most rookies don't mention unprompted. These women are stronger, she said, acknowledging the gap and embracing the challenge. That kind of honesty is rare, especially from someone constantly under the spotlight.
Well, I think the biggest benefit, you know, obviously there's the aspect of having a new coach and a lot of new teammates. So in that regard, like, it's still a learning process and trying to figure your teammates out and figure out the new system. But the pace and the physicality and all of that, you're used to it. You're ready for it. You're ready for at the speed of how things are going to move. I think that having that under your belt is kind of what's helped me the most here. But at the same time, like, it's a learning process for all of us. There's, you know, most of the team here and most of the girls here are new players. So and the ones that have come back, you know, new coach, we're just trying to learn in the same way and build relationships with our teammates. So similar in that regard, but at the same time, you know, having a year under my belt is really helpful.
She wasn't sulking or overwhelmed. She was preparing, and her self-awareness was sharp. I knew this would be a huge part of my off-season, she said about her physical development. That's not someone expecting handouts or trying to coast off college fame. That's a professional dialing in. She talked about lifting consistently, working with trainers, and watching more film than ever before. If Swoops expected Clark to flounder, she might be surprised by how ready she actually is.
I don't think anybody's trying to be alpha. Like, everybody's trying to be a good listener and be there for your teammates. It's how do you find the balance of doing both? How do you speak up and be a great leader, but at the same time, how do you listen and how do you get better? And I think it all speaks to, like, the relationships that you have with your teammates is, like, you got to go out of your way to build those. So when something goes wrong or you have to hold somebody accountable, they know it's coming in the best interest of the team. So I think it just starts with building relationships, getting to know your teammates. But at the same time, we have so much great personality on this team. That's what's going to make it fun. That's what fans are going to love and to watch about us. We're going to have a lot of fun playing basketball, and, you know, you embrace that about your teammates as well.
The way Clark talks about her teammates says everything. No formalities, no media-safe sound bites, just warmth. When she mentioned Lexi Hull and Aaliyah Boston, she grinned like someone recalling a fond memory. "We already click off the court," she said. Her body language matched her words. Relaxed shoulders, easy laughter. There was zero tension. Instead, she described shared dinners, casual hangouts, and teammates who genuinely like each other.
I think the vibes are really good, and that's what's really fun about it. Like, you know, obviously we're probably not in the heat of battle yet. I mean, we're out here competing with one another, but at the same time, like, everybody's here supporting one another and having fun and enjoying it. And I think that's what's cool about it.
"We're not trying to be alphas," she added. "We're just trying to be good listeners." That statement alone could have been the script for the Fever's new culture. In a league where ego can fracture even the best rosters, Indiana seems to be taking the opposite route. Everyone's finding their lane. Everyone's learning each other. And according to Clark, that's what will set them apart. "It's going to be fun," she promised, "and you can't fake that kind of excitement."
I was so used to playing basketball for basically a year of my life. That's all I did. So the rest was certainly great. And, you know, I thought it was going to feel long. It really didn't. It felt really short. Like, we played a lot of pickup. We were in here all the time. I was in here with Keith all the time. Had teammates coming in and out all off season working with me and wanting to get better. So, you know, like I said, I thought it would feel kind of long and drag a little bit, but it goes way quicker than you think. But that rest aspect for myself, just, you know, getting my body where it needed to be and really working on things that I needed to work on was super important. But I'm ready to compete again, so I'm excited.
Behind every culture shift is a leader. And in Indiana, that's Coach Stephanie White. While Swoops questioned the Fever's direction, White was building it in silence. Her approach is simple, but sharp. Defense first, she said. Our defense creates our offense. She isn't trying to mimic the old school. She's creating a system rooted in discipline, freedom, and adaptability. Players aren't just being told where to stand, they're being taught how to think on the court.
I mean, DB has been tremendous. Like, she's such a selfless leader. Like, she's here to win. She says that, but she like really means it, and she leads in that example every single day. Like, we were just sitting over there talking after today, like just talking about practice and, you know, things we need to work on, things that went well, you know, things that, you know, everybody knows we have so much talent, but at the same time, like, you got to put that together. It's not going to be like, all right, you have all these great players, you step out on the court, it's going to work. Like, it's going to take a little bit of time to figure things out, figure out how everybody works with one another. So, DB's been tremendous, and obviously, you know, not only as a leader, she's a tremendous basketball player too.
And the results are already visible. White has emphasized positionless basketball, creative decision-making, and building combinations that complement, not just collect, talent. We track every practice rep, she revealed. That kind of detail orientation is the hallmark of elite programs. But what really sets her apart is the emotional intelligence. We have to give grace through the process, she said. In just one quote, she dismantled Swoop's entire claim of a chaotic, directionless team.
And she's won championships. She knows what it is. So when she speaks, everybody listens. So I think that was a piece of the thing we were missing last year. Is like we didn't really have that inside of our locker room. So just really grateful for that. And, you know, just the way she talks and she leads, like, for me as a second-year point guard, like, I want to win for her. Like, this is the end of her career. Like, she deserves it.
This isn't a PR stunt. It's not spin. It's not even a clapback. It's something bigger. A franchise rediscovering its identity. Mitchell re-signing when she could have walked away. Veterans choosing to join instead of running from Indiana. Clark showing humility, hunger, and leadership. And Coach White calmly installing a blueprint for long-term success. All of it points to the same truth. The Indiana Fever are not broken. They're building.
I love talking to you guys all the time, but there was a point where the line had to be drawn. So I'm glad to see you all back here, but it was nice to get away from everything and just kind of be able to live my life as a normal person, enjoy things that I love to do, you know, cook, bake, be outside, go watch other sporting events, like see my family, just like be Caitlyn and enjoy things that I really enjoy. And don't get me wrong, like I loved basketball and, you know, having the spotlight and playing with my teammates, like that's one of the most fun things in the world. But at some point, like we had a great year, and eventually getting away from that was really healthy for me. But it came to a point where I was itching to get back in here after like a month. So I'm happy to be back at the same time.
Cheryl Swoops may have come out swinging, but the facts, the faces, and the energy inside the Fever locker room tell a different story. This isn't a team avoiding conflict. It's a team evolving through it. And that evolution? It's already showing up on the court. So the next time someone says, nobody wants to be in Indiana, you might want to ask them when they last looked. Because from everything we're seeing, something special is already brewing.